Hello, you lot. Thought this might act as a helpful share. Now, I will ask you a quick question. Who out there right now, who out there right now is overwhelmed by this whole SFM journey? Probably quite a few. Now, first statement to mention, I would say, is do not judge yourself, because I would say 99% of the folk at SFM have experienced exactly the same and probably still do. I know I do. And the reason for this share is to ask you another question. Who out there right now meditates? And I would imagine probably at least half of you, because us SFM folk are often of a similar ilk, a similar mindset. Now, who out there who is overwhelmed and meditates hasn't been meditating recently? Probably still a fair few. And this is a reminder that I had this morning, actually, whilst I would say I probably quite regularly get overwhelmed by the tech. Being a semi-Luddite, an old person, sorry, not old person, but you know what I mean, a middle-aged person, I do sometimes get overwhelmed by the tech involved in this SFM process. And therefore I do absolutely find myself in an overwhelmed state. Now, who out there right now is watching this video, but also flicking through another screen? They're multitasking. They're not putting all of their concentration in this video that I'm posting right now. Now, that is not me saying you must watch me. I've got valuable content. This is really interesting. What I'm saying is, if you're going to do one task, do it with 100% concentration and focus, because there's no point doing it at all. Your brain can't cope with multitasking. Although we think it can, it really can't. So if you are multitasking right now, stop it, because it's not doing your brain any good. And actually, this might be a useful share. So those that do meditate and haven't been, I would say jolly well go and do it, because as I found just then, and I did this in the woods, I do lots of weird and wonderful things in the woods, by the way, as some of you know from my 90-day video journey, that actually time away, especially from tech, from screens, especially if you're overwhelmed, go and meditate. Doesn't matter for how long, you will come back revitalized, revived, and probably have a fair few more answers to your problem than you had when you were overwhelmed. And those that don't meditate, now, some of you out there probably still see meditation as possibly a fluffy subject, something that is not your cup of tea, and that's fair enough. I think I probably did think that once upon a time. Luckily, I think meditation now is gaining some credence, credibility, in fact, significant credence and credibility. The fact that many corporate folk are turning to meditation, I think, is a real indicator now as to where it's come. Now, those that don't meditate and are overwhelmed, I would say give it a go. Because right now, when you're in that overwhelmed state, your mind is not working efficiently and effectively. You are staring at the problem. Your mind is probably somewhat foggy. You think you've got an answer, then it disappears, etc., etc. So there's no point in continuing what you're doing. If you're overwhelmed, stop what you're doing right now. And then if you haven't meditated before, go and try it. Give it a go. Now, if you haven't tried it and you are overwhelmed by the state, by the nature of meditation and how to do it, let me simplify it for you. All you really need to do, and there are many methods out there, but all you really need to do is sit down in a quiet place where you can't be disturbed or distracted, where there's little noise if possible. And all you really need to do is either lay down or sit down, close your eyes, and just simply concentrate on your breathing. And a really good way of concentrating on your breathing, actually, by the way, is just focusing on your abdomen. And when you breathe out, push your abdomen out. When you breathe in, push your abdomen out. When you breathe out, your abdomen goes in, and just concentrate on that movement. Concentrate on this feeling of your stomach pushing up, moving in whilst you're breathing. And the more you concentrate just on that one thing, on the breathing, the more your brain quietens down, slows down, stops that chatter, stops thinking about the problems that you had. Now, initially, it's not going to be overly easy. You're probably going to get some other thoughts popping into your head. The trick there, by the way, is as they pop in, don't judge them, don't try and remove them. Just let them pop into your mind space, as it were, your thinking space, and let them disappear again. So that is it. I don't want to go on to much about meditation and how to do it and the methods. I'm just giving you a very simplified version of what you could do. And the reason why I'm just putting out this share right now is that I'm coming from the perspective right now of being overwhelmed. I have had that overwhelmed experience, and I still have it every now and again, and largely trying to get my head around the various technical aspects of this journey. And for me, the one thing that absolutely hands down works every single time is taking myself away from the problem and going to meditate. So that is it. I just thought I'd share this right now. Thought it might be useful for some of you folk. Love to you all, the SFM family. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.